better. Let there be light. Brand new candles. A bit of a slow one. This is my chapel. The reverb in here, no clock. Thy will be done. I'm not used to being in here. I'm making films, I mean, I pray here every day, but thy will be done. Who are we? Nothing. I was in northern France at a little town called Rostov some 12 or 13 years ago when I first started making these films at ça s'appelle un gîte, a little apartment for rent. And I had these wonderful views out to the Atlantic. You get the ferry from Poole, I think it was actually. I went from Poole, I think, not Plymouth, it was Poole by Bournemouth. This is the Miserere, based on Psalm 51 by Allegri, and apparently they used to enact it at the Sistine Chapel, the Vatican in Rome, Sistine Chapel, and no one else was allowed to hear it. And then Mozart heard it somewhere, somehow, I suppose there at the Sistine Chapel, and wrote it down so everyone could have it. And the Pope of the day was so impressed that he sort of showered honours upon Mozart. That, I believe, is the story as to how it became more widely disseminated in the world. It is beautiful, there's no doubt about it. I love music. Based on Psalm 51, I think it's David repenting of having put his good friend, ordered his good friend to be at the front of the battle lines so he'd be killed and David could have, that's Uriah, have his wife Bathsheba, and God was not best pleased. And I think this is David repenting. I think so. I may be wrong. I'm off of that. I'm afraid I really am not an expert. And I don't pretend to be an expert at the Bible. There are people absolutely who know a very great deal more than me. Now, philosophers envy those who suffer. Well, I'm blessed. I've got my own personal cross to bear, my own personal suffering. The commandments remain: love God, love your neighbour as yourself. Well, the second commandment does enjoin us to love ourselves. Well, I try and do that. Believe it or not, it's giving me such a pleasure. I haven't even used it properly yet, but through eBay I've just ordered just a plain, well, a willow pattern teapot, just a little teapot. Well, I didn't have a teapot, I was using tea bags in the cup, which isn't right. Now I've got a teapot. I've ordered the teacups and they haven't come yet, so I still can't have a tea party. I've ordered 3 teacups. for my tea party. And my dear old mother had a trolley with all the beautiful china on and so on. But tea must be drunk out of a cup with a saucer and a handle, a mug. Sorry, awfully sorry. Have another cup of tea. There's such suffering in this world. What are my little travails? Well, I'm afraid they're pretty serious. My son committed suicide at the age of 18. I never knew him. My former wife had been sexually abused by her own father. Da-de-da-de-da-de-da, but I obviously married her and I didn't know anything about it. It was all my fault, and I fought in the courts in England and I got no justice, and there we are. I have my cross to bear. But I don't go around with a long face. I'm sorry. I absolutely insist upon it. I will not. If I'm sad inside, I just stay indoors. I've cried oceans of tears, and I've had 30 years to contemplate all this stuff. That's when I met, 31 now almost, met my former wife, 1990. So, that is the cross God has given me to bear. Well, I can see it intellectually. It's a blessing, truly. This, my own personal suffering. It has transformed me. I fought in the English courts for 5 or 6 years, no justice. Bogged off out of England back in 98, having fought in the English courts, the High Court, the Royal Courts of Justice, the European Commission of Human Rights, Strasbourg, etc., 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 no justice. And then off I went, hacking round the world, living in France initially for 3 winters, and etc., etc. Well, my whole life has been utterly transformed, my spirit, into what I now am, at a man of 64 years old. But I am a Christian because I've kept turning to God. That's the absolutely bottom line. I love and trust God through Christ. I am not embittered. I am older and wiser. And now I try to bring this love that God has given me through my personal experiences to the whole world through this magic machine thing, the internet. You can't have too much love. The world needs love. There's so much trouble. I try only to allow love to flow from me. If I find anything in me that I feel is not of God, of a loving nature, I root it out. I will not have it. Not in me. It's rather fun. See if I can manage this. These little chaps have turned up. You see them? Hope so. They're there somewhere. I don't know if you can see them, but anyway, they're narcissi. They're rather sweet. Anyway, enough of me ramble. Thy will be done. I accept God's will. Yes, it's humongously difficult and painful, but there we are. Amen.